can't understand what the second coming is without understanding what the point of everything is.
Yeah, it seems like a logical place to start.
So can we talk first about what is the purpose of creation? I want to give you what Swedenborg says is this is the point of everything. This is why anything exists, and this is the thing to which God is constantly pushing everything. Okay.
And can I jump in even before you say that, which is that he was interested, very aware of the philosophy of Christian Wolff, and Wolff had said the purpose of everything, the purpose of creation, the purpose of everything was for God to behold himself in a mirror. That's what creation was there for God to see himself in the mirror. And so Swedenborg's answer is a little different than that.
Well, this is not meant to be offensive to Wolff, but that's kind of dumb. I mean, I'm not on board with that.
It's a little narcissistic, it seems.
If that applied at any other scale, if I was in a company, let's say I started to work in a company and we were doing all these things and I didn't quite understand why it was stressful and we were working really hard, and in the end, it was revealed at some stockholder event, this is the CEO talking, this is all so that I could see what I looked like. So I could look at you all and your struggles and trials, and in that, I could see myself. Nobody's going to be like, wow.
Right.
That guy's awesome.
Or entering into a relationship with somebody and to just say, well, the real reason I'm here is I just want to see what I look like reflected in your eyes. You know, that's why I look at your eyes all the time.
That's what little kids, if you have sunglasses on, they're really close and you're like, wow, they really think I'm great. It's because they're looking at themselves in the reflection. So none of these, and especially when you add on the pain and suffering that people go through, if you learn it's all part of the vanity project of God, we are not satisfied by that.
It's not endearing. No, it doesn't make you love God like automatically.
Like you could love God if he forced you to and said, if you don't love me, I'm going to crush you. But if you actually asked me and I was like, I can't be held responsible for, or can't be legally bound by what I'm about to say, I would say, this is terrible. This guy's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what Christian Wolff was saying is the point of...
Right. Right about the same time.
Okay.
And I think, Swedenborg was aware of that.
So this is what Swedenborg would say is the purpose of creation. The universe was created for the purpose of having an angelic heaven made up of members of the human race.
Wow. Okay. So heaven's the real point, and then this world is a stepping stone to get to that goal. I mean, a very important piece of getting to that goal.
If somebody didn't know Swedenborg is coming in here and didn't know the definition of it, what does that statement mean? Angelic, what is heaven? What's that like?
Yeah, I guess one of his amazing findings, as he would describe it, when he started having spiritual experiences, was that there's nobody else in the afterlife except for X people, or however you want to. He doesn't use that language, but. Yeah. But in other words, they're all our ancestors, our loved ones. There's no separately created race of angels. There's no fallen angel who becomes a devil. They're people.
And what's it like being in heaven? Bad or good? Like a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is pretty good. Like, what's it like being in heaven?
Heaven is incredible, mainly because it's an environment in which everybody really got the memo about sharing. Like everyone wants to share their happiness with everyone else there, and everyone brings a unique element to it. And so Swedenborg even suggests that everybody up there knows everybody, like you have a massive number of friends on your heavenly social media kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know everybody. And so to be able to feel this shared joy of it sounds incredible, and very much focused on usefulness. Like everybody is really about, let's get this done. They're selfless and they're humble and let's get this done.
It's the perfect state of existence. It's if everybody who says, why didn't God create a better world, heaven is the world you would want
Yes.
created. And it's above what you would think of on your own, because you might think a perfect existence would be you sit there and you're just super blissed out. You just crank your dopamine up to 1,000 and that's it. But
Right.
there's actually, as you said, there's this whole, you connect to other people. Your happiness is derived in particular from helping other people. You enjoy it. You have a life that's varied and real and tangible and doesn't get boring, but yet it's centered on being used. It's just like really a really, really great time to be a conscious being when you're in the state of heaven.
That's right. And it's always a little new. There's little incremental growth. You're believe it or not, we continue endlessly improving just slightly, getting better at this and understanding that and shifting in this way. And so my experience of being alive in this world is like mainly becoming aware of this list of things that need changing, and so satisfying to see those things. Okay. And it is already satisfying to see, handled this a little bit better than last time,
Yep.
Oh, I didn't get my foot caught in that mess this time, the way I did last time. And that little incremental growth, that continues. People have this static idea of playing harps and singing praises of God eternally. Oh, no, it's a very dynamic and interesting world.
That's right. Yeah, there's no harps anywhere near heaven. You're not allowed to play the harp there.
No, that's right.
So heaven is great. There are actually harps there. There's everything that is here is there, but to a greater extent.
Yeah.
That the architecture, the music, the culture, everything you love in life is there. It's cranked up. Actually, the goodness of it came from there. So it's super great there. Heaven from the human race is the happiest you could ever be. It's like an absolute genius designed the best experience you could have. That's what heaven is. Go ahead.
Well, can I throw in that another important element in my mind is that I don't know, my experience of being human is there's a lot of neurosis, or I get
It's the worst.
I get clobbered by this thing or that, or here comes a bad mood, or whatever it is, coming from all sides, it seems like sometimes. And there's like you've got a real kind of protection. You know who you are. You've been boiled down to your least essence. And that stuff just does not get you anymore. It's not like a whole bunch of neurotic people still going through their neurosis.
Yes.
It's your best self, like you're firing on all cylinders.
Let me tell you something, man. So this is how cool I am. This is the kind of thing I do, like when I am thinking, like when I'm trying to go to sleep. And neurosis, fears, inner pain of all kinds throughout the life. That stuff is always at my door. It's always attacking me in all these ways.
Right.
And what I do is I know that idea of heaven that Swedenborg says, where even like the thoughts and feelings you have come from the heaven around you. So there's always good things.
Right.
So what I do is I've done this probably 11 times, probably 13 times, is I'll imagine myself like inside the walls of like some city in heaven. And I know,
Nice.
but like when you pass through those walls, they're not just, they're psychological walls as well. So it's like nothing can come and get you, and I'm just like in there like, man, am I safe right now?
Oh,
So all that stuff is to say, heaven is so great, and the point of existence is to get human beings into that state.
yes.
So the point of life is not for God to relate to himself. It's not for God to have anything. It's for people, for God to be able to make people as happy as they can possibly be. That's why anything exists.
Right. It seems sometimes like the purpose of life is for us to suffer in new and creative ways.
It's called aging. Yeah.
And but no, that's just a means to an end. That good things will come out of that.
So that's, believe it or not, that's what this is all going. And we're here on the ragged outskirts of it, but the purpose of creation is to be pulling us into this state called heaven. But there's also another thing.
Oh, right.
And also, so that's that's the first purpose he gives. Then he says, and also for the purpose of having a church in the world.
Huh.
Since the church gives the human race access to heaven.
Or should under ideal circumstances or something. I mean, right.
It's all about heaven. The church gives us access to heaven. So I think the next topic that we've got to talk about. Because if we're talking about the second coming, what is the second coming? You've got to know the second coming is the last step in God's master plan. The point of the master plan is heaven from the human race.
Okay.
And the church is this indispensable thing that gets the human race here to be able to connect to that awesome thing we were just talking about, to be able to connect to heaven. So what I got to ask you is, because Swedenborg will do this, he'll have a more expansive, updated, new, or fleshed out definition of words that we find common. What is the church according to Swedenborg?
I would say the church is something, it's in a way the state in which an individual is an angel in training. In other words, they're on a certain path. They're going in a certain direction. And then it's also an aggregate of those people. And by the way, some of those people will organize in something that's called a church, but they're all over the world. They're in every religion and no religion, and they're everywhere. People are on that path. They may not even realize entirely that that's the path they're on, but so it kind of comes from an individual definition and then grows out to a collective one.
Somebody was just saying to me that this is their favorite thing about Swedenborg.
Oh,
the
really?
idea that the church, the fundamental unit of the church is inside you. It's inside your little heart and mind.
Yeah.
And it is that you are in a state of the church when you have, like you said, heaven or an angelic nature inside you. So if you have good love in your heart and true ideas in your mind, you are walking around at a little church.
And basically the essence of that, I think, is sort of a consent to say, yes, I'm willing to go in this direction. Somehow life has offered you this possibility of like, hey, here's what it might look like to be a decent person in other people's lives or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of okay, I'll try it.
I got nothing to lose.
Right.
My life is not, I need something. Okay,
you
we'll
get
do
to have
the church.
your misery cheerfully refunded.
You can achieve that state of church inside you through any religion that acknowledges some kind of God and gives you moral imperatives that are basically in line with 10 Commandments and treat your neighbor with golden rule.
It's all about how you treat people. Yeah, that's right. Not so much about, do you exactly believe this, or do you exactly know that, or are you part of this worldly organization or something. But yeah, that's the essence.
If you could stick on your church X-ray specs, you could look around at all the people that are around you, and you could see there's all kinds of stuff going on inside people. This is you can see their heart and mind. But you can see, what's the state of the church in this person? And so the church in the person is what's the state of their love for their neighbor, and then in their mind, what's their concept of God? What do they believe about how to live rightly? And so you could look around and see, out of a big crowd, you could say, this is the state of church in everyone. If you zoomed way out and were able to see the state of the church in everyone at the same time, then you'd see the big C church. This is the church as in the state of the human race at this time as relates to religion or spirituality or what you want to call it.
And I'm thinking it's also got a relationship to, if you could use those spectacles, you could see what the relationship is to the problems that people have, hereditary issues or whatever. Everybody's struggling with stuff. So it's not just that you have a whole group of people who are just having a fine time or something, But what's the relationship? Is there some part of you that doesn't like that self-centeredness? Everybody's got the self-centeredness, but what's your relationship to it? And what you're describing is exactly what Swedenborg says. Angels, they all have that vision, and some particularly have an intense version of it where they can look at somebody very quickly and see, I see what your love of the neighbor is. That's right. I see what your faith, your relationship with God, and I see how you're working on the other issues or stuff you inherited from previous generations or whatever.
Yeah, you can't. well, how good am I? That's the state of the church. The church is one part of you inside you, and it's the part that tries to keep the other parts from going crazy and,
Yes.
and getting out of control
Yeah.
and acting against love of God and love of the neighbor.
That's right.